Hey everyone, welcome to the S&P 500 video today. It is the 18th of August 2020. It's about 10:30 in the morning. I'd like to give an update on the S&P 500. There's some chatter going on the Discord right now, so I'm hoping to catch this at a good time. We are about an hour into the trading session today. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of yeah, I mean, this is really good. So, what I'd like to do is get into it. But before I get into any of this, of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You are responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. If you're not on the Discord, just throw a comment in the YouTube chat. I'll be more than happy to get an invite code out to you. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's take a look at the chart. All right. If you haven't seen the past, if you haven't seen how I constructed this, how I got to where we are, I highly suggest you go back and watch that video. I think I did it on Friday or Saturday, just a few days ago, right? Don't look at the one from yesterday. Look at the one from Friday or Saturday last week. That's going to be the one where we do the Elliott wave analysis from scratch, okay? So that is basically where we're getting all of this from. You can see all the technical background why we are counting it this way. And so let's take a look at what's going on right now in the market. So first off, we see that we are starting to do a little bit of a pullback, right? We're doing a little bit of a pullback after we made a push for 33.90. We hit 33.90 and then we got a little bit of a rejection. Now, notice I said a little bit of a rejection. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this wave right here. This is the important wave. I know a lot of times, people will forget about what happened in the past, but this guy right here is, I think this is pretty important, what we've got going on right there. The reason why that is important is because, again, going back to that video that we did, we're going to take our trend-based fib extension tool, we're going to ping off the bottom of this guy, we're going to go up to the top, right, try and get it. I use a trackball and not a mouse, so sometimes it's hard for me to pinpoint a really precise target there. Let me just kind of zoom in just to make sure that I got this as good as I could. Yep, I did that one okay. So that looks all right. Let's go down to the bottom pivot and just make sure that I've got this, because it is important to a certain degree to make sure that you've got the pivots as good as possible. And I think that I did. I'm not going to be able to pivot this off exactly. I'll pull it up just a little bit, but nonetheless, this is pretty close. So let's go ahead and pull this guy up. We're going to pull him right up to the bottom of that. Is at 29.8350. The bottom of this was at 29.8350. Okay, so this is good. This is good. We've got this. So we have our landscape set up here. And what we're going to focus on is this 175 right here. So let me just go ahead and zoom in on this 175, and we're going to tick this off as perfect as we can. And that hit 33.90 and 50 cents. All right, 33.90 and 50 cents was the 175. We talked about the importance of the 175, and what happened? We almost hit it. We came within 50 cents of hitting that 175, and we got a rejection. All right, so now that this has happened, now we are continuing to look at our Elliott wave. I'm going to predict that this was the top of this 3, right? So when we were all the way back here, I said we're going to go up and then we're going to get a rejection. And well, we went up, not as high as we were expecting, right? And now we're starting to work on the rejection. I'm going to remove that because we're going to dive into how far back we're going to go from here. Because this is, again, what happens now that we're getting a rejection. Is this going to be a sign that we're going to have a significant pivot to the downside, or are we just having a pullback? Right? I tend to believe we're just having a pullback because based off of this move and this move alone, we hit the 175. I'm willing to say we hit the 175, right? We came within 50 cents. That's a valid target, right? Regardless of the chop that is happening right now, this top needs to hold, meaning we can't violate that high this week. Okay, if we violate that high this week, something else is going on. But that is the high right now that we have to focus on. And yes, I realize that it happened like an hour ago or less. I understand that. I fully acknowledge that, calling tops is a dangerous thing to do in markets, but the algo target hit, and we have seen this hit in the past. So I have no reason to believe that this is not going to hold. So again, right now, we hit our 175, which was the target that we were looking at. We've been looking for the 175 and we hit it. So now what do? Now we pull back 38.2%. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove this guy because now at this point, assuming that that holds, and I'm going to go ahead and keep my little red line up there. As long as that target holds, we're going to go back. Expected we're to go back 38.2%. So let's just see where that takes us. Now that we've got a good pivot to the downside here for our wave 2, which is complete, right? So let me just get this. And then we go up here to the top. All right, so we go up to the top, right? One more candle. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fix that. Let me just go up and tag this. We're going to get this right on 33.90. And let me just make sure that we've got this guy down here tagged as well as we can, and that's perfect. All right, so that looks good. So now we go back 38.2%, which is going to take us to 32.3475. That's going to be our target to the downside. Our target to the downside is 32.3475. Now, if this is strong, right, because even though that's the algo target, expect a bounce at the 236. Let me remove all this other stuff right now because that's not important for the time being. But right now we're going to be looking for 32.94, which looks like a good place for a bounce. And then we're also looking for 32.3475. So these are the targets to the downside. How do we get there? Okay, how do we get there? Well, on this move, you can see we had, a little bit of down, up, big down. So maybe we do the same thing here. That's to be determined. Wave 4 does tend to be a bit of a triangle in itself. It does tend to be, a little bit of consolidation and a wedge. This didn't really happen that way. I'm counting this as, one wave down to complete the 4. If this is an A, B, C to the A, and then a B, and then a C, I'm not going to dig into that too much. I think that this was a completed algo target down here, and then we were moving up, and we're seeing that there is a technical pivot beyond, where we hit at 33.90 based on this wave. I'm counting this as a wave 1, 2. So I'm saying that this is more than likely what's going to be happening here. So we've got the 1, 2. We complete the 3. We go down for the 4. Now, how long is that going to take? Well, one thing that we do have is our time. How long did it take to complete this correction? Okay, so we take this correction to the 1 and the 2, and then let's pull this out to the 3. Okay, so if we expect this to take the same amount of time, which wave 4 usually takes longer than wave 2, not always, but a lot of times it takes longer to resolve. If that's the case, right, and so we take this amount of time to complete wave 2, well, the time it's going to take for us to complete wave 4 is probably going to come out at least to August 31st. That's the end of the month. That makes a whole lot of sense if you ask me. And again, I'm seeing this for the first time. All of this future predictions, analysis on the future, right? I'm seeing this for the first time, and I'm seeing this as completing on August 30th, August 31st. It seems like a coincidence that that hits at the end of the month, but I mean, it makes sense, does it not? Does it not make sense for us to correct this to up until the end of August, and then we continue the move up, which we are looking for that wave 5, we've been talking about this, up to 3,400, 3,500, maybe higher, I don't know. One thing that I know is we're completing wave 5. We're completing wave 5 here, right? If this is going to be bullish and the correction is done, excuse me, we're going to be completing wave 5. We're going to be completing wave 5, and then we're going to be doing a bigger pullback. A bigger pullback. Really, the pullback that everybody is waiting for is going to happen, but for right now, this pullback is going to be small. And again, I talked about this on the video last week. What's going to happen right now is there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be trying to be heroes, trying to short the top, trying to really cash in and turn $500 into $1 million, right? You're going to have people trying that up here, and they're going to watch this thing come all the way down to maybe 3,300, maybe 3,200, but once it gets there, they're not going to know to sell. So what's going to end up happening? Because they're going to be looking at September, October, November puts, right? So they're going to watch this thing go down. They're going to say, oh gosh, look at how much profit I'm in, and look at how much time I've got left. I'm just going to go ahead and hold on to this position. What's going to end up happening? What is going to end up happening? Well, we've got this guy right here. We've got this target up here, and this is actually probably going to be more like out here. What's going to end up happening? It's going to shoot down. We're going to base for a little bit, and it's going to move right back up, and we're going to make a new high. Okay? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can totally see something like this happening, where we do a little bit of a complex correction down here into this 4. Maybe it's going to be a wedge of some kind. Maybe it's just going to be a straight ABC, right? We see ABCs all over the place. From up here, A, B, C. From here, A, B, C. We see this all over. But the question is that going to be what happens on this correction? Again, all of this is dependent on this high holding as a high, and we would not violate that high. 33.90 has to remain the high at this point. Okay, so if you're in a short, right? We've been talking about this on the Discord. If you're in a short, now your stop loss is 33.90. If you want to hold to 3,400, that's fine. I mean, it's just 10 points, but that has to hold. And let's just go to a 4-hour block, and let's just look and see what we have just done. Right? Granted, there is 3 hours and 13 minutes left in this, so anything can happen, right? Anything can happen here. But that last hourly candle on the ES, that alone, made that push up, and then the next hour started 47 minutes ago, and we saw a swift rejection. And this rejection saw an engulfing of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. At least the last 6 4-hour candles, the last 24 hours of trading history has been engulfed by this candle so far. Now, again, I'll say this one more time. We still have 3 hours left in this candle, so nothing is confirmed yet. I'm just basically saying at this point, we've seen a rejection. We're probably going to get a pullback, but watch the pullback, okay? So let me go down to a 15-minute time frame just to kind of take a look at this. Okay, so we're going to get a bounce. There's no doubt in my mind that we're going to get a bounce. So from the top at 33.90 and all the way down here to this bottom where we're already starting to see a little bit of a pullback, let's watch this. So we go from the top to the bottom, all right? And let me just go ahead and throw my Elliott wave on this. So I've got my 50 and I've got my 618. Pulling back to the 618 seems very, very likely, which is going to be at 33.80. Okay, if we get to 33.80, I think that we will probably see a pullback to that point, and that is where I would want to see another rejection. Another rejection. Okay, what that is in confluence with, this 618, what is that in confluence with? Well, that's in confluence with this low right here, which should be new resistance, right? It was resistance here. If we just kind of take a look back, that 618 was prior resistance throughout basically all of this. All right, so let's just pull a little rectangle on here. Let's just look at this. And again, I am on a 15-minute candle. So just watching this right here, it would make sense for us to make an attempt at this region before we get a rejection. If we push through there, we're probably going to push through the high, right? So I don't know how conservative you guys are. I don't know how conservative you want to be here, but if we do push above the 618, chances are pretty good we're going to make a raid back for 3,900. So if you want to hold on to any shorts that you may be in, that's really your call. I'm not going to push the buttons for you. All I'm saying is more than likely we're going to do a little bit of an A, B, C up here to the 50 or the 618. And that is where I would want to see another rejection. If we're going to go down from here, right? Again, on a 4-hour candle, we still have 3 hours to go, 3 hours and 11 minutes to go on this candle. So really anything can happen. Historically speaking, when we've seen a big drop off like this, it's been gobbled up pretty quick, right? So right here, it fell and it got gobbled up pretty quick. Right here, it fell and it got gobbled up, right? Things fall and they get eaten up pretty quick, okay? So here's another example. It fell, it kind of went up and then it pulled back a little bit, but eventually it did get gobbled up, right? So I would keep an eye on this low for continued downside. And I would take a look for the 50 or the 618, probably more the 618 than anything. And gosh, the more that I zoom out, the more that this looks even better as an area for resistance, right? This almost looks like a trap and then a trap. And then now we're pulling back. If this doesn't get eaten up today, then chances are we're going to be moving down a little bit more. But watch what happens, because we're already starting to see this thing move up. Watch what happens at the 50 and the 618 for continued downside. We need to see a rejection for there to be continuation to the downside. And I think I've probably said that at least 30 times in this video, so I'm not going to say it again. But just keep an eye on that. And then watch for this. If this is going to be a top, again, more than likely we are going to find our way back. And again, we've already talked about this, to the 236 or the 382. More often than not, wave 4 goes to the 382. If it is strong, it'll stop at the 236. All right, so we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. I'm interested to see what happens today, because if today we don't recover and make our way back above 3380, or at least 3377, then chances are pretty good we're going to have a pretty bearish outlook for the next, really for the next week to week and a half. That's going to be a pretty interesting, and I wouldn't get puts on this either, right? Just for the record, I wouldn't get puts on this. Because you're going to have high premiums, especially on SPY. You're going to have high premiums, and you're going to be looking for this to occur within the next week to week and a half. So it's probably going to happen slow, right? It took a while to go up, right? This isn't like Bitcoin. It's probably not going to come straight down. It's probably going to take some time, so you're going to have some decay on there. Pick your poison on how you want to short. If you want to short, that is totally your call. This is just my opinion, and nothing more than that. This is not financial advice. I believe that we're probably going to hit this somewhere between, again, August 31st and maybe after Labor Day, right? So maybe you're going to get some profit taking up into the Labor Day weekend. After Labor Day is likely when that recovery will start, if this does play out this way. All right, I think that's all I've got for you guys right now. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and